Okay, so I told you I would post another video about equivalent fractions that we somewhat touched on today and we'll be talking more about throughout the unit. But remember, when you think of equivalent fractions, it sounds like a really big word that might be hard, but equivalent sounds like equal. So when we look for equivalent fractions, we're looking for a fraction that is equal to the fraction given. For example, if we have 3/5 and I ask you to give me two equivalent fractions to 3/5, all you have to do is remember to multiply, and you are multiplying both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. So, if you want to do 2, then our new equivalent fraction would be 6/10. So that's one equivalent fraction. And then to get your next one, you would do the same thing, and you can pick any number you want. So if you want to do 100, just make sure that both the numerator and denominator is multiplied by the same number. So for this one, we would have an equivalent fraction of 300/500ths. Now, this is not something we've talked about yet, but if we look at this fraction, 6/12, not only can we find an equivalent fraction by multiplying by a number, and then remember, it can be any number. So if we want to do 2 again, we would have an equivalent fraction of 12/24. But if you look at 6 and 12, what number can you divide equally into both of these? So if you think about it, we could divide 2 into both of these and get 3/6, and that would be an equivalent fraction. Or if you look at it, we could divide 3 into both of these, and we would get 2/4. Now, you cannot have an equivalent fraction by dividing if your number does not go into it equally. For example, you cannot pick any number for division. If you pick the number 5, 5 does not go in equally to 6/12. So, this would not make an equivalent fraction. What if we look at if we have 6/12 and we want to think of the biggest number it can be divided by, the biggest number that can go into 6 and the biggest number that can go into 12 evenly. Well, if you think about it, that would be the number 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So right there, we came up with many different equivalent fractions by multiplying any number, which we did in class, or you could have an equivalent number by also dividing both the numerator and denominator by the same number as long as it goes into it equally. So, we will talk more about the dividing part in the later days to come. But for right now, I wanted to make sure that I posted a video for equivalent fractions. That way, in case you had a question about what equivalent meant, you could come on and you could get a quick tip at night to study. And remember, your math test, your quiz is Friday. See you tomorrow.